Ladies and gentlemen, this podcast is brought to you by Nyaraicellaras wine. A little bit more on that in a second. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Hustle Over Everything podcast. This is the podcast where we receive stories, tips, and tactics from entrepreneurs who have done it. I'm Alex, the owner of the show, and today we have a Wildcard. We're here chopping up about every and anything, so it's going to be an interesting conversation. To start off, though, I need to dive into Nyaraicellaras because something has happened that I want to tell the audience about. For one, Nyarai is owned by Steve Byfield, and one of the co-founders is Sharon. Big shout out to Sharon. They took a risk by sponsoring the show, and I specifically want to give both her and the family a big shout out today because for the last few months, Sharon has had cancer, unfortunately. And yesterday, she has passed from cancer. So I'm sending my regards to Steve. Losing a co-founder must be treacherous, man. So I'm sending my regards to him and regards to Sharon's family. They believed in the business from early. And I spoke to Steve yesterday, and he was saying one of her biggest things that she wants him to do is to take the business as high as he possibly can. So what you can do to support is go to Nyaraicellaras.ca and pick up a case, and help that dream come true. All right, let's get into the show. Ladies, how y'all doing?
Good.
Yes,
I'm
yes,
great.
yes.
I'm great.
Yes. I know it's on a bit of a darker tone, but let's
I know.
make
That's
it happen.
life.
Most definitely. So for people who don't know, you should introducing yourself, Sherley?
Sure. I'm Sherley Joseph. I'm from the Chonilla Network. I host and run a community called Black Canadian Creators. Currently working on season 2 of the show. I'm also now event planner. That's a new hat that I've been kind of dabbling into, and just finished the Soundwave Summit. Woohoo! And thank you so much, both of you, for being part of it. This is who I am and what I do.
Most definitely. And ladies and gentlemen, we're in Perspective Studios. As you can see, this beautiful setup behind us. It's a new setup, something different. And I'm speaking to Miss Perspective herself.
Hey.
Please introduce yourself to the people.
Absolutely. Thank you, first of all, Alex, for having me, and Shirley for bringing Alex. My name is Shereen Simon, and I am the founder of blackprint.com. It's where we have Black-owned businesses. They're health and beauty products and soon fashion products. We're also going through a rebranding for that, as well as the host of Voices and Vibes. And that's really where we amplify Black-owned businesses, and we really talk about things that are not typically discussed within our community. And as recent, the owner of Perspective Studio Productions. So this is where you can come and amplify your voice through either podcasting or photography or creativity. So we are in the east end of the city, and we are excited to just be here with you guys today, or have you here with us in our studios.
Most definitely. So big news just came out. I want to get your perspective on it. Verzuz. Remember Verzuz? Verzuz.
Yeah.
Verzuz. They just announced.
I should sue them, but that's a whole different
Sue
conversation.
them? What you talking about?
Before Verzuz was created during the
COVID?
pandemic,
Yeah.
I used to host an afternoon show on radio in a community station in Montreal. And one of my segment I used to call was Versus.
Oh, wow.
It was like Versus and then VS Versus. And so I would find a theme, let's say Sorry. And I would find 3 artists that had a song named Sorry. And it was these verses versing each other.
Oh, wow.
So when they came out, I was like, what the smart? What? I was so that's kind of like an offshoot of my idea. Anywho. But it's okay. I like Swiss Beat and I like Timbaland, so we're cool. It's
Most
cool.
Definitely. Damn, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's a little history about me. Yeah.
I would just ask you, Shirley, if you trademarked it.
I should have, had I known, right?
But you don't need to know. That's why you got to trademark it. They can come and be like, can we buy
hey
something?
man, that's a little too close to what I was already doing. Yeah.
Yeah, or even have like the TM sign next to it, so
Yeah.
it's like your trademark.
Yeah.
Or you let them run it, then you get some money.
That's real. That's
Honestly.
real.
It's not really the strategy I'm going with, but I'm just saying.
Yeah, I
But
feel you.
what is going on with the Verzuz?
So Verzuz literally just announced today that they're partnering with Twitter, with X. You know, they
Oh.
just posted a photo with them and Elon Musk.
Oh,
And
really?
yeah, so they're about to start doing Verzuz on X going forward. They've got it back from Triller. They originally had their deal with Triller,
Oh,
which was a partnership, and they've acquired all the assets back, and it's 100% owned by them now, and the artists that they share their equity with, and now they're moving to Twitter X as a distribution platform.
Okay, now does that go ahead?
yeah. So does that mean they're going to utilize kind of like what they do with, because they're really pushing that whole clubhousey kind of thing on Twitter? Is that what, or X, I should say, is that where they're going to do Verzuz? Or?
Yeah, so basically it would be a live show on X now, you know, so which is crazy because they were born on Instagram.
Yeah.
So it kind of sucks that.
That's, yeah.
Yeah, but hey, I guess the money speaks, money talks, you know, so they're going to be doing it on X, which is very interesting.
Is it going to be audio only? Because.
No, it's not going to be a clubhouse. No, so you're wrong. So Twitter also does live events too.
Oh.
Yeah.
But does that expand their reach?
Yeah, so because Twitter is one of the biggest live platforms.
It is?
You know? Yeah, for like real time things. When something's happening in real
in
time.
comparison to
you're
like TikTok or YouTube, you would say?
For sure. Well, here's the thing. Like if you go to a basketball game and you're watching a basketball game,
Yeah.
you're on Twitter talking about the basketball game.
True.
You know what I'm saying?
True. Oh, I
It's one of-
see in that aspect. Okay.
Yeah, so it's one of the best like real time platforms to go
Right,
on community wise.
Yeah.
You know, TikTok might be better for live shows. I get what you're saying because you kind of spread it out all together.
Yeah.
But you're going to Twitter to talk about it. Like
Right.
if something's happening, if the Super Bowl's happening, you're like, I'm live tweeting. You don't live Instagram the Super Bowl.
That's hard. Yeah.
You don't
No,
live
it's not
TikTok
possible. Yeah.
the
It's
Super Bowl.
It's hard.
you
Yeah.
know?
Well, you don't.
I mean, threads.
you can on TikTok. You might not live. Well, you can go on like lives and talk about what's going on,
for
right?
sure, but you're not making TikToks live for the Super Bowl.
No.
You only live tweet the Super
Yeah.
Bowl. You get what I'm saying? So it kind of makes sense in that way because people can actually engage with it on the platform and tweet it at the same time.
That is too bad that Instagram, because they could have utilized that for their Instagram live.
For sure.
And then people can live comment.
Yeah, on it. That was the thing. That was a big thing.
Yeah.
So I haven't watched like they don't have Verzuz anymore. Like they haven't had
They
that.
had stopped it because of they were going back and forth to Triller to get it back.
Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
So when are they planning to
Launch?
introduce it or launch? Yeah.
They just announced it today that the joint partnership is there.
Okay.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll come back in the next few months.
But
This
they,
should be
they
interesting.
took money right out of Instagram's pocket.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure.
Like huge money.
Huge.
It's
for sure.
actually a good move for X too, because
Yeah.
so many people have been kind of slowly moving away from
Yeah.
Twitter.
It's a power move.
It's a power move for, I guess, Elon Musk and the whole team at X, because then we'll see if it's going to bring back definitely people who are into hip hop or R&B, or I hope they expand it beyond those genres too. Like I'd like to see a Verzuz of different types of genre of music. So
Yeah.
that would be smart too, to kind of like do a country Verzuz.
Oh, for
or
sure.
like, right, pop music Verzuz. And so I think it's smart, and I think it may bring back some of the people who are like just hesitant to go back to hesitant or remove themselves from X to probably come back.
For sure. Like Britney Spears versus Christina Aguilera.
Oh, that'd be crazy. That would be crazy.
Insane.
Yeah,
Just
that'd
you
be crazy.
saying
Crash
that,
it.
if those two, wow.
But I don't know if they can get Britney.
Or
on
if
there.
NSYNC versus Backstreet Boys.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my goodness! Like, but
Crash
who's
in
listening?
there.
Like, who's the target demographic? Like, who's?
But that's like, even those two examples is a
Yeah.
perfect demographic to bring back some people.
Yeah, I would love to see what the listening demographic, because you did say that they do lives on there, right? Or what the demographic, their audience demographic is on X. I want to say Twitter. It's on
Yeah.
X, right?
Yeah,
Like,
right, yeah.
and
I
how
keep-
that changes with this being introduced on there, rebranded on there.
Man, it's gonna be.
I'm all about the numbers.
For sure, it's gonna be huge.
Yeah.
Because Swiss Beats and Timberland have that thought leadership to bring in whoever they want,
That's
you know,
true.
and those connections. So I think it could do serious numbers. And Elon Musk will go ahead.
No, because you mentioned Timberland. That's interesting too, because Timberland has been really, really involved in the live aspect. I don't know if you noticed, but sometimes he does these lives on like,
TikTok.
yeah, and he will listen live to different producers and you know what I mean, artists and stuff like that. So I wonder if that's another aspect, is not only having like, you know, the Christina Aguilera versus Britney kind of people, but that would be also a great platform to do verses between new producers, new
Yeah.
musicians.
Metro Boomin on the
Oh,
verses.
yeah. That'd be-
right?
that'd be sick.
To have
For
a
sure.
verse with whoever is, you know,
Yeah,
against
yeah.
Metro Boomin. I don't know who it'd be, but yeah.
But if you mention that Timberland is doing that on TikTok, that means they're also taking market share away from TikTok.
Mhm.
That's very strategic, especially. I feel like now I feel like it's like government funded.
You know, it's interesting. I can see conspiracy mind
Yeah.
going, because it really is a strategic way. Because they're saying not only are they doing verses, but they're doing like other music performances on TikTok, on Twitter as well, on X.
That's so weird to me because like
Mm.
I don't tweet
Mhm.
or I don't X. I don't even know what you call it anymore. I am all about there's Instagram, but I love me some TikTok.
Yeah.
I love
But let me
TikTok.
ask you something. I know you're Trini. Masha Montano
Yes.
is having a concert and it's being streamed
I feel
on,
targeted.
On
X.
X.
I know you're pulling up. A lie?
I'm like, so do I need to find an old account? Because
That's my
You're like,
password.
Reset password.
what was it? I think it was Sweet Trini something.
Yeah.
For real.
Sure.
Yeah, no, that's this will be, I'm gonna keep my eye on that. Google alert.
Yeah.
For sure.
It,
Go
Go
ahead.
ahead. Oh, I was gonna say it's interesting because think about when TikTok started. Kind of just came out of nowhere, and this is reinventing Twitter,
Well, it used
right?
to be Musically, but that's a whole history.
Yeah, but it's just grown so much. So we might be watching a switch in like social media marketing and a whole new, like more people now putting their advertising dollars and their marketing dollars towards like businesses, right? Towards Twitter. And we might see like a whole switch. Like a lot of people want to come off of Instagram. Although some people have big platforms, but a lot of people are like, oh, there's something off. There's something off there. Now, is this like a pivotal time for social media? I don't know.
I think it is. I think right now, everyone's trying to knock off TikTok. You know, like-
Period. Point blank. Yeah.
Knock off in a double entendre in terms of copy TikTok as well as get rid of TikTok.
Yeah.
You know, so that's I think the main goal. So they're strategically figuring out new ways to make that happen. So I think that's going to be like the strategy that we're going to be seeing over the next 2 to 3 years. People creating barriers, you know, moats, so TikTok can't do whatever they're doing. You know, like this right here is a perfect example of a moat. Like TikTok can't go on to Verzuz and create a duplicate version of that. You can't duplicate that. You have to go to Swiss and knock on their door and be like, hey, can we do this too? Yes or no? You know, so I think that's probably going to be the next thing. Like, for example, Amazon just got is it the Super Bowl, or they have their own Super Bowl that's a competitor to the Super Bowl that's happening around Black Friday. You know, so there's going to be a lot of eyes going there. You know, so there are different things that social media platforms are doing. Amazon's not really a social media platform, but in terms of driving eyes and eyeballs, they're strategizing there. But here's the thing, though. There's a plot twist with this. People don't know this, but Elon Musk is actually in a racial discrimination lawsuit that just ended like 3 months ago.
He had a lawsuit?
A racial discrimination lawsuit. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So people.
So this is where the money
Like
is being invested to
internal?
bring our community.
Yep. So Reuters.
Let them put that on TikTok. He's staying right there.
Yeah. So this is what Reuters just said. So Tesla settles race bias claims by black former worker after a $3 million verdict.
Ooh.
This just happened in March 15th, 2024.
I have not even seen that on TikTok. Is it?
Interesting.
So this literally just happened. So Black Twitter has not forgotten about this.
Mm.
So they are actually, surprisingly, I thought there was going to be a positive sentiment in the comments, and they are not with it at all.
With the what are they not
With
with?
the announcement.
With the whole Verzuz thing?
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, we still remember.
We still remember.
Yeah.
Ah.
Let's go, Black Twitter.
So now some of the comments are like, is it April Fool's or Juneteenth? Because it's Juneteenth
Oh,
today.
It's
No.
Juneteenth.
You know, some people commented nasty work.
It's also strategic for the announcement to come out today.
On
That's
Juneteenth.
very strategic.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy, actually.
Yeah. So here's one comment from the Closet Ratchet. That's an interesting name, the Closet Ratchet. I kind of feel it. I understand it. You know, lol. I grew up on Twitter, so I will never not use the platform just because he just bought it. But this is really tone deaf to announce on Juneteenth, and he be retweeting some weird stuff about Black people kind of often. Y'all should have taken this to Apple or something.
That's a good point. That's so true.
But it's also
Not only that, like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to just say it's also kind of targeted because of who it is, right? And it's hip hop. So it's targeted for us over there. But it's almost like, how open can I be here?
As open as you want.
It's almost like a slap in the face. It's almost like a slap in the face. Yeah, I'm dropping it on Juneteenth, and you're going to still come.
Do you think
And
there
you're still going to come.
was Black Twitter, or are they going to come for Swiss Beat and Timberland on their
No,
decision?
I think this is a blip, honestly. Like, I think a few people are kicking up a storm, but in the grand scheme, like, it's so much bigger. Like, this is a small ray in comparison to a giant beam, you know? But it's just interesting, though, because I had no idea about this. Like, I feel like y'all are just as surprised as I was to get that information, because I was like, oh, I didn't
No,
even...
I did forget about it, though. I did move on, there was a lot of, like, you know, like, when just him buying the company and the struggles of people who are racialized who worked at Twitter, had a horrible experience once he owned the company. The fact that he allows, like, you know, some of these fascists, or maybe some of these voices that can be, you know, not very friendly when it comes to BIPOC people, and to allow them to come back onto the platform, like these accounts that used to be blocked, and then he, you know, he bought the company and then he brought them back on. And then now, so yeah, dropping it on Juneteenth, just all of that, I could see, I could see the problem.
Honestly, one comment got me dead. They said, so we celebrating with Apartheid Clyde?
I'm telling you, it feels like a slap in the face. And it'll launch, and you'll have the uproar, and then there'll be people who don't care, right?
Yeah.
So to me, if I was to give it an analogy, it's probably going to be a really bad analogy.
Talk to
It's
me.
like, do you still listen to R. Kelly's music, or do you stop? Right? And so I definitely do not.
Do you guys still? Oh, here's a question. And I'm kind of going left.
Okay, go.
Are you still listening to Diddy music?
I haven't heard any. I haven't heard
so
any.
it's so tough, because, like, not R. Kelly isn't just a singer, but he's also a writer. You know,
So you might not even know what you're listening to.
Exactly.
Damn.
I put on a Ron Isley song the other day because I'm like, man, I miss Ron Isley. You know,
That one I wouldn't forget, because they were in a lot of songs together. They did a lot of collabs together, right?
But the song I was going to wasn't an R. Kelly song at all. But then all I hear is R. Kelly's ad-libs in the back. I'm like, oh yeah.
So you know what the question is? Did you turn it off, or did you keep jamming?
Oh man, I kept jamming. I won't lie to you. I'm gonna keep it a buck. I'm playing R. Kelly because I'm not giving him any dollars, and his wages have been garnished. So he's not making any money off his songs. So I don't feel a lick of bad
It's just
playing
so
R. Kelly.
hard, because
I'm
sometimes
not
you start
listening
paying
to it.
attention to them lyrics, and you're like, oh.
No,
Yeah, I'm not
so
listening to it.
I'm playing "Step in the Name of Love,"
Okay.
and that's it. I saw someone talking about playing the whole "Trapped in the Closet" series, and I'm like, wow, I can't do all that.
No.
But "Step in the Name of Love," like when you're on the dance floor already and it comes on at the right moment, and you're like, oh man, I'm in it.
Step off the dance floor.
Dang, you're like, as soon as it comes on, it's like,
Listen, as soon as I
absolutely
seen
not.
that video, I remember where I had this conversation just recently this week. I remember watching that video. I see you peeing. I'm done.
Oh, I never saw the video.
I'm
Saw the
done.
video.
Saw the video too.
It's disgusting.
Really?
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, no. What am I listening to?
Yeah. So now that so will you listen to some Diddy songs? I mean,
Man.
y'all still didn't answer.
So yeah. So it's tough because he
Produced
produced.
so much.
Produces
So
so
it's like,
many.
do I start listening to Usher? You start
Yeah.
listening to.
I guess it's more like songs that it's him. Like it's like like him and Mace. I know I can't listen to anything with
what
him.
about Biggie? Like,
That's
I'm not
the
gonna stop
biggest-
listening to Biggie. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes,
yeah.
agreed. And I think it's
Yeah,
like
Biggie's been dead for years. Now we got to stop because
Like I
Diddy.
can't. Like
I
12
know.
12 what crack commandments? Like no, I can't.
But I
Yeah.
won't listen to
Oh,
a
10
Biggie
crack
song
commandments.
where I feel like Diddy is like featured a whole lot. Like
Yeah.
anything that he's featured a whole lot,
So
or it's his from his album, like he's the star of that album. I don't think I can do.
So what about like if there's ad-libs like a 10 Crack Commandments? He had ad-libs in there, you know.
That's,
so
that's
like
tough. Like
you're just gonna be like, take that. Oh, off.
take that
Well, too much take that. Too much take that.
No.
Okay. So when you're going to, are you guys on TikTok? Like, do you?
Yeah.
You're on TikTok.
Oh, yeah, yeah,
Scrolling,
big
just
time.
I'm on
scrolling.
TikTok heavy.
Oh yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm
it's
like-
become my search engine.
It is.
It really has.
Listen, it's my
It's my
media.
go-to
Right.
now.
It is my media.
Like,
That's where I get my news.
I
Yeah.
speak in TikTok.
Oh, so do I.
Yeah. Surprise.
So
Totally.
I don't know that one yet. What?
Really?
No, unless I missed it. I don't know that one.
Oh
You guys
my
were
God.
saying it, and I was like, I don't know.
Word. What's your favorite TikTok phrase?
Oh, I don't know. On the
Math
spot.
is not mathing.
Math is a good one.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people like that was
Yeah.
where it really
Yeah.
amplified.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
You know, one that it's a little bit older now, but one I keep using is I like it Picasso.
Oh, I feel like I missed that one too. What's in my stream versus your stream?
Or what's the other one? Like, can I pet that dog?
Get about that dog.
Can I pet that
Get
dog?
that dog.
I am not saying that. No.
Somebody told me about that one, and I didn't see it, and they kept doing it. I was like, "What are you doing?"
Oh,
And
I
then-
do remember it, but I'm not saying
But
that.
then
That's how you say it.
Can I pet that dog?
Can I pet that dog?
In what context am I using that? I don't know.
Did you see the video
You see
though?
the video?
It's a little boy, isn't it?
It's
No,
a
it's a
little
little
girl.
girl.
I
And it's
don't
not
know.
even a dog, it's a
It's a
bear.
Okay, then when was the last time you used that in context?
Oh,
Um,
I can't
This
remember.
is how you know.
It's out of context.
Exactly.
You use it randomly. It's like, can I pet that dog?
That's one that I'm not doing. No.
Love that one. Love that
Yeah.
one.
No,
Mhm.
TikTok is it's so funny. I had an interview the other day, and we were just talking about that because he was saying like he's not on TikTok or anything, and I was saying like TikTok is literally. I've always felt like the internet is what you make it.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that like with TikTok, it actually makes it true. Do you know what I mean? Based on like the algo, based on like you could definitely manipulate or really not manipulate, but set up in a way that what's fed to you, what your For You page is about.
Mm-hmm.
In comparison to the other socials, I feel like you're still
Don't say the word. No. It just comes to you.
Yeah.
The algorithm is
The
algorithm.
algorithm,
Yeah,
yes.
it does its own thing.
No, like, I'm gonna say it. We're slaves.
No!
We're slaves of the
I'm
algo
not.
for the other platforms.
I'm not.
But I feel like with TikTok, it's a little bit more like you can control it. You can like create it in a way to what you want it to be.
Absolutely.
Right?
I do not watch
So-
any cat videos because I do not want that in my algorithm.
Why?
I'm not a cat person. I do
Oh.
not want
You don't like cats?
one cat. I have one cat and we good.
I feel that. Yeah,
It's done.
it.
How do you not like cats?
yeah, I don't-
Really?
Yeah, what's wrong with the cats?
Okay, so I have a story why I don't like cats.
Oh
What's
no!
up? Talk to us.
I-
Why
What
don't you like
happened?
cats?
What happened was.
So what had happened was when I was younger,
Oh.
one of my friends, she had a cat, and her cat was not neutered, and we would be chilling at her house, and her cat
Ooh.
would. That's not me.
So yeah, that's definitely you. You ever ruin? I
Oh.
forgot to. Oh man, I didn't introduce you to Ruin on the podcast.
Oh,
So you ever ruin the podcast?
how?
Is that
That's
me?
not me.
No, that's you.
That ain't me.
Did you see it on the computer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How? I don't even. Oh, because I'm on Do Not Disturb here. I thought the
Do not
computer
disturb
goes
the
on.
computer.
I thought it all automatically does it.
Nah.
Oh.
But yeah, I usually have a rule in the pod that if your phone goes off during the pod, you do 10 push-ups.
Oh,
I thought you were gonna say I have to drink.
No. But shout out to Nyarai, yeah. But you don't have to do it now because you didn't know. You know?
I didn't know.
But you don't usually have that for the guys, so you should have make something for the girls. I don't
Oh
know.
Lord,
Yeah.
I'll drink.
Drink to it. All right.
Yeah, I'll drink.
Fair.
And if it goes off again, I'm good because I drank. He's
I
not
know.
I don't know, but
I
I'll
know.
lie.
Shirley, you're a girl. You're with me.
Oh,
Like,
sorry.
Yeah, you had the first time, first second.
hello, Shirley. Hello.
I got your back. I'm so sorry.
You're like girl power. Like no power.
Yeah. She's like, no. Black power. Like, what power we got going on here? No, I only don't like cats because the cat used to hump my leg, and it was
damn.
random. It was, and I just feel like
Ooh.
I didn't need that in my life. So
No, that's fair. That's
Yeah.
fair. Yeah.
I don't know.
I didn't know that cats can do that.
Oh, they can
Yeah.
totally hump your leg.
I mean, dogs used to hump my leg, but I still like. It's like, but
You
like,
need to stop talking. Wait, dogs just hump your leg and you what?
yeah, I just didn't care. I was like,
It's so weird.
it's
you
weird for a
didn't stop
second.
them?
You just gotta shake them off, you just gotta shake them off your leg, just give them a little, get out of here. And then after, it does its own thing, or like the owner will
And
take it
comes
away.
back.
No, the owner will take it away usually. And then you can move on with your life.
I don't know. Her
I never
cat
thought
was
that'd be
like
like-
This is
ridiculous.
why
hump my
I
leg.
didn't want dog because they go around humping things and
They
humping
do.
your leg. I didn't know cats.
Oh,
can do
her
that.
cat was
Yeah.
horny.
Really?
Horny. Like, it was like normal. And they would be, like, like we were like about 15, 14. So we'd hang out at her house. And her cat was just,
This is from that young.
yeah.
Was this traumatic?
I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. And thankfully, my son's allergic to cats. So we don't have no cats in our house.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I thought you said you had one cat.
You didn't pick up on that?
I thought.
I have one puss.
Oh.
Did you put that?
No, I did not put
All right.
two
Wow.
together. I was like, wait, what? Got it.
Got
Duly
it.
noted.
Thank you.
How did you miss
How did
that?
it go here?
I guess because I Trinity.
Whoa.
It went over all your heads.
Over my head for sure.
I had to get almost explicit there.
Yeah, wait. It's all good. It's all good. That's hilarious. Wow.
Wow.
But speaking of one, this is your one studio,
Mm-hmm.
So tell us about, bring this to life.
Ooh, honestly, it actually started with me having black print. It actually started with George Floyd dying, and so a lot of businesses started then.
Yeah.
So I've lived that before. I had somebody in my family that was died from the hands of a police officer.
Oh, wow. I'm so
So-
sorry to hear that.
Thank you. And at that point, I'm like, I know what it feels every time that happens. And, and it happened and it was big and nobody was really paying attention in Canada because it was 2 weeks from the time that it happened to Trayvon Martin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so I've lived through all of that. And when that happened to George Floyd, my thoughts was, okay, Shereen, you have 20 plus years in digital. What are you going to do? Take your experience from corporate and how do you give back to the community?
Mm.
So I threw together a Shopify store, started pulling in vendors. And that was my way of giving back. It was a passion project. And as I was onboarding vendors, we had vendors at that time in the UK, one in Ghana. We still have one in Ghana, the US and Canada. Because my thoughts is always to be big, to be international, right? And at that point, when I was onboarding the vendors, they would tell me their stories of why they got started. One person had lupus and she was in Ghana and her skin went bad. It could be all of these different stories. I had a guy in Chicago and his father was a pimp and his mother was all kinds of, but just hearing their stories of why they got started, good, bad, ugly, happy, sad, whatever. I was like, we need to amplify this. I did know I was going to do a podcast prior to COVID. I had set up the artwork and everything for the hot pepper sauce, something like, because I was going to talk about all the hot topics. But with this, I felt more tied to it and amplifying their voice. And I love to shop from our community. I love us. I love us with a passion. So for me, sorry, it must be almost 8:30. I have like a gratitude thing that I do at 8:30. So from there, it was like amplify voices. I started traveling and interviewing Black-owned businesses. I went out to Nova Scotia to meet a bunch of different businesses and interview them there. And then I went to the podcast summit, and they talked about other multiple streams of income. And I had been following that community for a long time and been in and out of it. And a studio just made sense. I was always renting. So why not provide a community where people can, or spot where people can kind of gather and do it as well. So it went from one business to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. But I feel like it's most passionate, like, to me. And I feel it within my spirit. And I am very spiritually moved with the decisions that I make in my life. Yeah. Sorry, that was a long story.
No, you got there though. That was crazy. How much have you invested in making the studio happen?
Ooh, I don't think I've counted all the dollars.
Give me a round number.
I'm definitely over, maybe about over 40 probably.
40K.
Yeah, I'm probably because like the equipment, it's the little things that make you keep upgrading, right? It's the little things. So, there's the rent, there's the equipment, and then there's like the furniture, and I've sourced like every little thing. And then it was like, I think you came by and you were like, oh, you got to get curtains and you got to get this, and then you got to think about sound. I was traveling and not thinking about sound when I was doing my interviews. So then I was like, okay, we got to get acoustic panels, right? Like we got to, and then I didn't even know the color of white walls. So I've painted this room probably 3 times.
Oh, wow.
Paint is expensive. But then it's like equipment. You have to put in good quality equipment so you can get good stuff. And I'm still not where I want to be equipment-wise. It's probably about, if not under, over 40.
Wow. That's big.
Yeah.
So what have you learned about yourself during this process?
Oh, honestly, I'm so happy right now. I'm probably the happiest I've been in a long time. I was working in corporate and making a lot of great money, and I got laid off in the process of this. And I'm a risk taker. I've always been a risk taker, but I've been taking even more risks. And the joy that I feel within, and my ROI is not here yet, but I know it's going to come, and I'm just going to keep investing where I see makes sense. Just do things. I'm at the point in my life that I'm open to doing whatever makes me happy. Yeah, because my kids are big. I don't have to run around and do things. So I'm going to just live my life and live out my dreams.
Yeah, it's like empty nester.
You're doing
they
things
live at
for
home.
you.
Yeah.
But maybe that mentality.
Yeah,
That's the
mentality,
Yeah,
girl,
maybe that mindset.
You're at your big age.
I had my kids young.
Big age.
I had my. I don't know about that big age. I don't want to claim the big age, but because I had my kids young.
Oh.
Like I wouldn't suggest having your babies young, but I had my babies young, so now at this good age.
No, not your big age. At their big age.
Oh, at their big age. Okay, yeah, their big age. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah. But I still have. I'm not like in my 70s, and then I almost feel. I almost feel like I'm retired.
Really?
Yeah, like I don't know what retirement feels like, but that's how I feel. Like I'm like, retired people must feel, if you retire young, you must feel happy. I wake up every day like ridiculously happy.
Really?
Yeah,
happier than when you were at corporate.
Yeah. I was, you ever heard of the term silently quitting?
Yeah.
Quitting.
Quietly quitting?
Yeah.
I was like waiting for my package for like 2 years.
Are you serious?
Yeah, because I knew it was coming. And like I had like a huge responsibility, and little things would be like taken from me, and I have like a team and everything. And I'm like constantly, so I can't not be passionate about what I do because I work in product and tech, and I love it. I love building on websites. I love building software. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love breaking things apart and putting it back together properly, right? Building out that customer I love it. But I could just see things, and I was always kind of fighting things. And, you know, when companies go through restructuring, you kind of see the writing on the wall. And everybody left from my team except for me because I had gone off on sick leave and came back. And then the last few left, and it was just me.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
What's good money?
What's good money at that time? Because what I would think is good money where I want to go is not even what I was making. So, I mean, most people are trying to make like 6 figures. And I feel like I was close to, you just all up in my business.
Oh, we're in your business.
You know, it's a business pod. It's a business pod, you know?
Well, you know, I was making more than, God, can I say all of this stuff?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
This is
I'm
what they're like,
learning.
sure.
I'm learning
We
and I'm
don't
inspired.
So I actually love talking about money, especially with people that are younger and helping them negotiate, especially in that field, especially with girls, right? I'm always going to help the women negotiate. Ask for your bonus. Get this. Do this. Put that in your RSP so you reduce the taxes. But plus 150 over that, plus bonus, like a little closer, higher. Yeah, so it's a change for me, but my mindset is in a really good place. So now it's just like, okay, so how am I make that money? That's it. How do I make that money? Because I know I'm gonna surpass what I was making in corporate, and it'll be like, okay, I surpassed that. If I don't surpass it this year, I'm not even putting it like that because the way I manifest, I'm going to surpass some serious money. So that's just how I think.
Nah, I hear that.
That's where my mindset is.
You know, one thing with corporate is that it kind of mentally trains you to think that my hours rewards that dollar, you know, and going to entrepreneurship and seeing like, oh, well, I can do this and that will reward me money. It's like a mindset shift that, you know, can really impact your potential and like, yo, if I can do this and make that, then why don't I just keep doing this and make 10 times more over time?
Absolutely.
You know? So I get it. I get that mental shift. It's a big one. Listen, the more subscribers we have, the better the guests get. So please hit subscribe. Let's get back into the show. Oh,
I
for
don't know
sure.
do you guys feel the Toronto snub?
Oh my God.
What? Toronto men are worse than women.
Do guys feel the Toronto snub too?
Guys are way worse than women.
Oh,
Women
I feel so
actually
good
are
right now. Not good that you
It's
felt it, but I
bad.
did not know that men feel it.
Oh, for sure.
I thought it was a woman thing.
Define the Toronto snub.
Oh.
Yes, because then maybe it's different.
You
for
define
all
the
of
Toronto
us.
snub.
Yeah.
Okay, so for me, you meet someone. Are you asking? It's like a setup.
No, I'm not
setup.
trying to get you in trouble.
Okay, it's like a setup. Oh no, I'm not gonna get myself in trouble,
recording.
and I don't. No,
Okay.
I don't get licks. There's no trouble.
Okay.
But you meet someone. This is the way I experienced it. They were cool. You see them again, and they snub you. Like, why are you talking to me?
Yo, so it is a thing. Okay, I
Yeah,
have
like, why are you
experienced
talk-
that, and I'm not gonna name names.
No, we're not naming names. And so much so, I'm gonna just end it with this. So much so, I kept trying to talk to the person, and my son, who's 20, it was 19, was like, "Mom, don't
Why
even."
do people do
Because
that?
he is like, "Mom, her energy, she's not even." And I was like, "That's crazy," because
Yo,
because we were, and he's like, she's like, and then I said something again, and he's like, and it was right before I had my event, my live podcast event, right? And I was trying to promote it, and okay, I'm gonna stop there. But my
Yeah.
son was like, "Don't."
It's true. You don't bother. It happened to me with 2 people that I met prior.
Were they cool the first time? You
They were
met them?
cool because they weren't in their circle of people. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And I went to another event and I saw both of them. And one person I saw them 2 weeks prior. And then the other person I met like a couple of months. I was introduced by someone that they trust and that they know. and they saw me and I totally got snubbed. To the point too that I was standing next to someone they knew and said hi. I was literally standing right next to the person, and I already given it. That person said hi to this person standing next to me, and I was like, "Wait, is she?" I was shook. I was like, "Wow, this is a problem here."
That's crazy.
It's everywhere. To be fair.
No, it's
what
not.
has your experience
It's
been?
not. I lived in St. Catharines. I lived in Montreal. The snubbery here is another level.
I'm talking about like and metropolitans, like in big cities like that happens.
I guess, I guess, maybe,
Really? Because I feel like every time I've been to New York, it's so, I don't know, my energy. Every time I've been, it's been so embracing. Like the love.
Yo, that's
the
real.
love. That is
the biggest catalyst why I created Black Canadian Creators is because of the love that I was getting from Black creatives in the United States. And I wanted to replicate. It was like not talked about. It's just so natural with them. It's so like, love. And I don't know if it comes from survival and it comes from because when it comes to subjects of race and things like that, it's still an issue there and it's very overt right over there. And so I think maybe the overtness and survival aspect and the history, because they have like over 400 years of history, right, generations of Blackness that have built that country. And so, and for us, most of us that are Black in Toronto are like second or third generation. Most, not that there's not like 200 years of generational Blackness here.
Our Nova Scotians.
Yeah, our Nova Scotians. But but coming here, I'm just baffled. And in my mind, my first thought was like, honestly, and I've said this before, and I know I've mentioned this to you, I feel like Black folks here are spoiled and privileged.
What?
And that's what I think causes the snubbery.
You lost me. I was with you for a minute, but I don't even know what that means.
I really think that the aspect of some level of privilege is afforded in some way, and not privilege in terms of like privilege is in not just in like, it's not in race. I'm talking about like money and establishment and careers and stuff like that. And in comparison to the States, it's still an issue. And depending on where, like if in Atlanta, I would not be surprised. Let's just say this, that form of snubbery that we're talking about in Toronto, I bet you it's the same thing in Atlanta because of money and privilege.
So I think that when you're looking at it from like an economy standpoint, like how they grew up, how much money's in their household or what their household income is and what they have privilege to, I do think that there's most definitely people in Toronto that are on the lower end from within the Black community, right? Not making as much money as other households, right? So, but that doesn't mean there's not like grace given when you meet someone that's either financially on the same level or whatever levels. Like I don't think that should have anything to do with it. And I just don't think so. I think it's more like it's a part of your character, right? Like who are you that you feel it's okay to snub someone, or what is it about you? What is about your status? What is it about you? Because you determine why you snub, who you snub,
but is it
or why you snub, period.
On a caste level in some way? Because it's like, it just feels like people who behave like this is because they're like, either you're not, I don't know who you are, or if you're big enough, or if you've built some kind of clout, whatever you want to call it, or some form of like populace, or you know what I mean, or public figuredom. Yep. That's when the snub goes down.
Yeah, that's when it dissipates.
Right, it dissipates, and it's not like that. I felt like in places like New York,
it's real.
Yeah, people would be like, "Oh, you're on the come up. I'm on the come up. Let's collaborate. Let's work together. Let's hustle. I see you hustle." You know what I mean? I acknowledge that, and I feel like here it's very choosy.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I mean?
But I think the difference is that you're more entrenched here. So like, I feel like if you were to spend just as much time here as you spent in New York, you would still feel that snub. Like
You think so?
Have you felt it there?
I haven't been to New York like that, but I just the rule of numbers, like if you were to multiply that and yeah, see the different experiences, be the different space, especially when people are trying to level up themselves and they feel like they're on a different level than you.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
I think it's gonna come through there. In my opinion, that's my
I don't know.
that's my perspective.
It's almost
you know.
like the two things, the analogy of like crabs in a bucket, but then you also hear
Crabs in the bucket.
crabs in buckets, almost that analogy, right? Like, but yet we do know, and we didn't have that understanding of like everyone can win. And I actually attribute almost every single thing to slavery, enslavement, as my grandmother would say, enslavement. When you do the dot lines backwards, where the mentality is coming from, right? Where does it derive from? But then, secondly, have you ever heard like that there's times when in Toronto it's like follow fashion. So if you go big in the States, then we're going to give you love, right? And I think people have talked about that time over time when it comes to different industries, such as like in the music industry, in the arts, right? And I don't know, but I still don't think in this grown age that we should be feeling the snub.
Yeah.
I can understand not knowing someone, so you observe. I'm an observant person, plus I have a tendency of introvert and extrovert, I believe. So when I get in bigger spaces, I kind of just quiet and I watch, right? And I observe, right? I take in my environment. And in smaller spaces, I flourish, right? But that doesn't mean if you're flourishing and you're flourishing that I can't flourish as well, right?
I think it's also a sense of like culturally there's so many people are not gonna like what I'm saying. I feel like there's a lot of decolonization of work that needs to be done, and then I think that there's many who have not done that, and you feel it a lot when you talk to the Black community in Toronto. There's a lot of decolonization that needs to be made, to not have these kind of approaches where you know what I mean, where you feel like you're competition. It's like, I'm not your competition. We should be collaborating. We should be working together. Like, you shouldn't be snubbing me because like, okay, I might not be at the level that you're at, or you may feel like you need to snub me because you feel like, well, I'm not going to get much out of you. You know what I mean? Because I feel like people snub in that way. It's like, oh, you're not at my level, or you're not at a higher level that I can,
you don't got nothing
have
for
it
me.
Advantageous for me. And it's like, and I don't know, I think it stems from a lot of like decolonization that needs to be made. And that's why there's that kind of behavior of like snubbing in the city,
Do you think it's always a snub, or do you think some of it is a form of intimidation? It's always a snub?
It's a snub.
I think
It's a
snub.
blatant snub.
Actually, to be honest with you, I thought you were saying something else when you said Toronto snub. I thought you were talking about like the cock block that kind of happens. And when it comes to reaching your potential, like I find that people will have the plug and they won't give it to you. You know what I'm saying?
That would be that gatekeeping. Right?
Gatekeeping, exactly. That's kind of where I see more of the action, not as much as snubbing. They'll for guys at least, they'll dap you up and still do like that kind of thing. So there's not as much of a snub. 'Cause I feel like because girls don't do that, they don't dap. They'll just walk past you, or the snubs that y'all get.
Yeah.
For guys, they'll dap you up and say whatever, but it's more of like a gatekeep thing that I see more of.
I see that.
Yeah.
But do you think it's like, so I don't think that we're entitled to anything, right? People can choose if they want to
For sure.
share or not share.
I agree.
I could be focused in what I'm doing. I could be focused on building mine, and I haven't even got to levels. So maybe I haven't shared information because you could potentially become a competitor. Not that if you are a competitor, I can't see you win and encourage you, but that doesn't mean I got to give you information, right? So, and here I'm giving like both sides on this side, right? But like, I don't actually think that we are. I had somebody call me. We're just shooting the shit. And then they started asking me some questions, and I was like, but hold up. The questions you're asking me, like, I give you all the information, you could just turn around and be my competitor.
Mm.
And I didn't even get nowhere yet.
Mm-hmm.
But I do believe in sharing information, but I don't think that anyone's entitled to information,
Yeah.
especially if the relationship is not fostered. And sometimes you don't need to have a relationship fostered, but I can decide whether or not I'm entitled to say no, because no is a
Yeah.
full answer,
Yeah.
right? I don't have to share. So, je ne sais pas.
Yeah. I think for me, the biggest frustration coming from, I'm not born and raised in Toronto. I came here when I was a teenager. I left, moved about different places in Canada and coming back from Montreal, like being here, like I think it's been like 7 or 8 years now. My biggest frustration with and I'll say the snub of the Black community here is, and especially because I see everybody's content. I see a lot of people's content.
Mm-hmm.
And what I get frustrated about is when their content and their brand relies on messaging. Their messaging is about community and togetherness and
That's it right
blackness
there,
and
though.
you know what I mean? But then you do the snub.
Mhm.
That's what
get
I
it.
was like, wait, hold on a second. Like, I thought you were about this, but you're not really about this. You're more about like, what can I get from, oh, I'm part of the elites, or I'm gonna, you know what I mean? Like, it's that's the frustration for me. It's like your brand says this, you claim this in the content and in the work that you have put out to the world, but you don't really behave like that.
I wonder
when
if we
it
got
comes
snubbed
to
by the same
us.
person.
I would not be surprised.
You could talk about it offline.
Yeah. No,
Well,
I'm telling you.
Do you think we
Maybe
can-
that's why they snub me, because they're like, I see everything.
Don't kill me. Now we're all in the podcast industry. Do you think you can reach your full potential as a podcaster here in Canada, in Toronto?
Ooh.
We'll let
What do you
Sherley
think?
let Sherley drop
a-
on the mic there first, because
That's
she's been here for a minute. She's been here.
That's a tough one.
What's full potential?
Yeah. Like, what do you mean?
I would say, well, I think starter potential, not starter, but mid potential is paying for your complete life through your podcast, and having a successful podcast to that point. And full potential is being a podcast star where you have a full community that's paying for your life, that's growing, flourishing.
Yeah,
Um,
it's possible, but it really depends on the category, or as a podcaster, what your niche is, or what your content is about. It's kind of tricky. Like, for me, honestly, because my podcast is about elevating and spotlighting creators, like Black Canadian creators, I have to take into account that the population of Black people in Canada is not the same as the population in the United States or Africa, like, you know what I mean, or even like Nigeria, like, you know what I mean. And I mentioned like Nigeria because it's such a flourishing place of podcast. Ghana, Nigeria is like growing like crazy when it comes to podcasting. So it's like, I know this reality, and even me currently working on like and researching for season 2, there will be a moment where it's like I'm thinking about, like, do I have to shift? Am I just going to focus on just Canada? Like, is that something I have to consider if I want to grow? And it's hard too, because I've been seeing running this community and the podcast for the past 5-6 years. It's a reality for us as Black content creators that we have to really think about. There's so many amazing, talented people that I know. I know one who just kind of like, I don't know if that person has announced it yet, but kind of put it out there, has an amazing platform and is considering to leave. And I see that over and over again, because you reach a plateau, specifically, especially if your content is Black specific or community specific, or the niche is about Blackness in Canada. It's really tough. You know what I mean? Like, or your niche is, I know so many photographers, amazing photographers, directors who are Black Canadian, and they have to leave because they're plateauing, because the grants that are out there and the stories that gets greenlit is not greenlit very often for Black stories. So they have to go to Atlanta or they have to go to New York. You know what I mean? And so it really all depends. But if you're a makeup or you're a lifestyle content creator and you happen to be Black, yeah, you could reach a much higher potential because your niche and your category is much more wide, that you can get there, like, I'm thinking people like Sasha Exeter is a perfect example of that. Like, you know what I mean? Getting brand deals and her own fashion line, you know what I mean? Flawless couture, again, lifestyle, fashion. Like, so it really depends. That question really all depends on your niche and what your focus or category of podcasts. If we just focus on podcasts, really all depends. So it's like, it's like how wide is your niche will kind of determine if you can grow locally, like in this country, or you'd have to widen the net by going to the States, right? If King Bach could grow here, he'd still be here.
Well, he wasn't really here like that.
Yeah.
He grew up in Florida, Miami.
That's true.
No, in
That's
Miami,
true.
in West Palm Beach.
That's true.
Yeah.
But people like Maya, there was a girl named Maya. Now I think she's like,
she lives overseas.
Yeah. You know what I mean? She started here. Amazing content, right? But I get it, like her lifestyle, and she was, finding herself and traveling the world. So I understand that. But if there was something that was big enough for her here to grow, she'd still be here. So people like Bozemer, I think that's his name. He just got got a TV show.
He's out in Vancouver.
Yeah. Like, I think, is he Vancouver or is he in Toronto?
Vancouver.
Oh, I thought he was in Toronto.
From what I hear,
Bozemer, now he's going to have a show on Crave that's going to come out like I think this month or something. Maybe people like him or Bria, who had that TV show. What was it called? I think it's called Bria Max. I can't remember the creator or the person who created it. Hopefully someone like him will change that. Like, you know what I mean? That maybe more companies will be like, oh, let's check out the local content creators. What are they doing here? Let's see if we can like give them a TV show, So I think maybe he's a perfect example that can probably like change that. Like, look, he didn't have to go to the States, but I know his TikTok followers are probably much higher in terms of like American viewers than followers and Canadians. So hopefully he'll change that. Like people like him will I think is a perfect example of changing that. So we'll see.
So. We shall. Well, with that being said, we're working towards wrapping up.
Yes.
Where can people find you?
Me? Oh, goodness. Follow me on Perspective Studio Productions so you can see what's going on with the studio. Follow our YouTube channel, Blackprint.com, because that's actually where you can get everything. We have a couple of new shows in the works. I don't even know if you call them shows. I think I'm going to call it a show that we want to launch this summer. So I definitely want you to tap into that, and you'll get all the behind the scenes from all different aspects. You'll get the voices and vibes. You'll get everything that's going on with Blackprint, and you'll get everything for Perspective Studio Production. So I would say YouTube, baby.
Let's go. How about you, Sherley?
You could find me, thechonilanetwork.com. That's CHONILLA network.com. Or you can follow me on any social platform, Black Canadian Creators. Check out season 2. If you are a Black Canadian person in media, I want to talk to you. That's my season theme for this year, for this upcoming season. But yeah, Black Canadian Creators, or if you're on X, which is Twitter, Black Canadian CC. I'm all about elevating stories. I'm all about spotlighting content creators that are doing amazing things here in this country, or some that are creating amazing content abroad as well, who identify as Black Canadians. I want to speak to you, and I love to connect with you in order for the world to discover what you do.
Most definitely. This has been great.
This is wonderful. Like, I really enjoyed this. And thank you both again.
Oh, thank you.
Most definitely. That being said, wraps up the podcast. This is what you can't control. So control your grind and control your life. I'm Alex.
I'm Sherley.
I'm Shereen.
That's a show, y'all. Peace.
Awesome.